Hello fellas. Welcome back to Top 5 Choices. This is Haley from Top 5 Choices, and I hope you all are doing good. In today's video, I am going to do a detailed review and pick the top 5 best laptop for programming, 2022. After doing proper researches, we came to the conclusion that meets the best in terms of overall. Kindly leave a like if you find this helpful, and I'd appreciate if you subscribe to my channel and turn on post notifications if you haven't. We will be also providing affiliates link to purchase from Amazon. Kindly use it for best offers and purchase from anywhere in the world. We'll be back with more videos. The HP Spectre X360 14 arrives with a brushed metal design that's available in several color combinations. The 360-degree hinge, which allows the screen to flip back completely, turning the HP Spectre X360 into a tablet-like device, feels solid and reliable. The right-hand side is engraved with the word Spectre, a nice touch that further cements the HP Spectre X360's overall premium feel. In terms of connections, you get an audio in jack and full-size USB port on the right. The inclusion of a full-size USB port is a nice touch for such a thin and light laptop, plus 2 USB-C ports, a microSD port and a physical webcam kill switch on the left. The latter allows you to turn off the webcam when it isn't in use. It's a great feature for people concerned about their privacy. It's definitely a big selling point, and that, along with the full-size USB port and microSD slot, showed that it is possible for a thin and light laptop to incorporate multiple connections without compromising design. It certainly puts the 2 USB-C ports of the MacBook Air, M1, 2020, and MacBook Pro 13-inch to shame. Open up the HP Spectre X360 and you're presented with a bright and vibrant screen, surrounded by extremely thin bezels. This gives the device a modern look, while keeping the overall size of the laptop down. It's another case of a Windows 10 laptop looking more stylish than an Apple MacBook, something both HP and Intel will be pleased to learn, and is yet another reason for Apple to consider updating its MacBook designs. The keyboard is large and enjoyable to use, with the keys offering decent travel. They're also backlit, so you can comfortably use them in the dark. The touchpad is nice and responsive. It's wider than you'd expect on a 13-inch laptop, providing a bit more room to move your fingers. There's also a fingerprint scanner to the right of the touchpad for logging into Windows 10. Similar to HP's provision of ports, the company has found a way of cramming a large keyboard and trackpad into a small body. It's a seriously impressive design feat, and means the HP Spectre X360 doesn't only look good, it feels good to use as well. The ThinkPad X1 Extreme is the party guest who doesn't care to stand out of the crowd. "I'll just wear an all-black ensemble and hopefully no one will notice me," the Lenovo laptop would say. However, just because it's a wallflower doesn't mean that it's neglectful of its appearance. It still has a clean-cut, urbane, sophisticated look that would earn a nod of approval from professional crowds, but it won't catch anyone's eye. Don't leave this laptop at a crime scene. Not only does the ThinkPad X1 Extreme Gen 4 attract a lot of fingerprints, but it's difficult to get rid of them. On the top corner of the lid, you'll find the words ThinkPad X1, in which a portion of the X, and the I's, is stamped in red, adding a much-needed splash of color to the laptop. Open the lid, and you'll find that it's light enough to open with one finger. The display is framed by thin bezels, with the top one housing a 1080p webcam. The deck features a keyboard, flanked by 2 speakers, with black, scallop-shaped keys and white symbols, as well as the little red nub, a telltale sign that you've got a ThinkPad in your hands. The keyboard takes up about half of the deck, leaving room for a spacious touchpad that features a scarlet trim. Following the lid's black and red motif of the Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Extreme has a sweet selection of ports, offering a variety of legacy and modern I/O options to meet all your data needs. On the right side, you'll find a Kensington lock slot, 2 USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type A ports and an SD card reader. On the left, there are 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports, an HDMI 2.1 port and a headset jack. The ThinkPad X1 Extreme Gen 4's 16-inch, 2560x 1600 pixel display is taller than your typical laptop with its 16:10 aspect ratio, so you'll get more screen real estate than usual. If you want a brilliant screen, the ThinkPad X1 Extreme is your guy, offering 426 nits of brightness, which bests the average premium laptop, 392 nits. The Lenovo laptop also beat the Dell XPS 15's OLED panel, which only radiates 398 nits of brightness. The ThinkPad X1 Extreme also outperformed the Predator Triton 300 SE, 292 nits, and the M15 Ryzen Edition, 328 nits. The latest XPS 15 makes better use of real estate than last year's model, with bigger keycaps, a much larger touchpad and slim front firing speakers that are all laid out elegantly on the deck. But the biggest design change is the laptop's new 4-sided Infinity Edge display, which ditches the thick bottom bezel from previous iterations for Dell's most seamless 15-inch laptop screen yet. The Dell XPS 15 2022 packs a total of 3 USB-C ports for charging and connecting to external displays and peripherals, 2 of which are Thunderbolt 3 for extra-fast connectivity. You also get a full-sized SD card reader as well as a headphone jack, as well as a USB-C to USB-A adapter out of the box. The Dell XPS 15 2022 borrows the best thing about the new XPS 13, a truly 4-sided Infinity Edge display, with no chunky bottom bezel to distract you from whatever you're working on, watching or playing. But the effect is even more dramatic on the XPS 15's 15.6-inch display, which now has a 92.9% screen-to-body ratio for maximum immersion. All of that real estate, paired with the rich 3840 by 2400 resolution on our review unit, made me never want to put the XPS 15 down. When I watched Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker on Dell's laptop, colorful red and green laser blasts popped nicely against a blue ice cave as TIE fighters chased the Millennium Falcon. The screen also did a great job preserving fine details, such as the stubble of Poe Dameron's face and the orange and white patterns on BB-8's outer body. The biggest news is that there's now a 14-inch MacBook Pro. It isn't physically much larger than the previous 13-inch model, thanks to a taller screen with narrower borders. It's available in silver and space gray, no festive colors for Pro models, it seems. The brushed metal texture of previous models remains, and the Apple logo on the lid is mirrored, but not illuminated. In profile, the new MacBook Pro actually looks a bit retro, with raised feet, flat sides, and almost no curve to the edges of the lid. The lid can be raised easily and the hinge feels very firm, but one ergonomic issue is the sharp corners of the little lip provided for your thumb. Build quality overall is very good, and there's no flex at all to the lid. What many people will appreciate is the return of various ports, most notably MagSafe for charging. This is a new, thinner connector that Apple calls MagSafe 3, and neither chargers nor MacBooks themselves are physically compatible with older models. You can still use Type-C ports to charge the new MacBook Pro, but MagSafe will be quicker, depending on the wattage of your power adapter. The thunk sound as the connector snaps into place is familiar and satisfying. As convenient as universal Type-C charging is, having MagSafe in addition is the best of both worlds. This is our first experience with Apple's M1 Pro SoC, which promises even more power than the M1 from last year's 13-inch MacBook Pro refresh. Apple is drawing new lines between its Pro laptops and the MacBook Air, or just MacBook, as it might be called. The M1 Pro leverages the same architecture as the M1 and is built on the same 5nm process. Instead of 4 high-performance and 4 efficiency cores, there are now 6 or 8 of the former and only 2 of the latter. Even though the LG Kilogram might be a more literally accurate name for this laptop, the LG Gram 17 2021 is shockingly light regardless. It's arguably the very first thing you'll notice about the laptop when first picking it up out of the box. It's hard to truly gauge the value of this without holding the laptop yourself, but trust us when we say its light weight of just 2.98 pounds, 1.35 kilograms, is a remarkable achievement for a 17-inch laptop. That weight positions the LG Gram 17 2022 as one of the lightest 17-inch laptops around. Other productivity-based laptops certainly don't fare as well in this regard. The Gigabyte Aero 17, for example, weighs almost twice as much at 5.5 pounds, 2.49 kilograms, while the XMG Pro 17 fares a bit better at 5.1 pounds, 2.3 kilograms. That's still roughly a whole kilogram the LG Gram 17 2022 has over its competition, then. Still, if you want to go even lighter, the LG Gram 14 and 16-inch variants weigh even less and are slightly cheaper to boot. Those could be better options if you're concerned about the extra real estate taken up by the LG Gram 17 2021. Speaking of real estate, the LG Gram 17 2022's dimensions are 15 by 10.3 by 0.7 inches, 381 by 261 by 17.78 millimeters. While the larger screen does take away from some of the portability aspect of its 14 and 16-inch counterparts, the impressively thin depth makes it compact enough to fit into an appropriately sized laptop bag with no issue. You might think that such a lightweight design comes at the cost of durability. After all, heftier laptops can give users peace of mind when it comes to preventing accidental damages. The LG Gram 17, 2022, is still impressively sturdy, however, featuring a full metal body that's resistant to drops, dust, and other common forms of wear and tear.